Hello everyone, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming at you another Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir. So, the last place we left off, the group had just agreed to do a report on Mrs. Heather Lawson and her horrible murder spree. And I think she also committed suicide. Oh, God. I wonder what kind of horrors this little group project is going to uncover. But anyway, everyone, please sit back and enjoy. Let me entertain you for the next 20 minutes. Alarm chain, you're up. Alarm chain, you've been engaged. And let's jump right into it. Cool air blows through my open window, and the draft feels both soothing and uncomfortable. The chill wind feels like icy fingers running along my arms and neck. I get up and close it before another gush blows in. My pajamas aren't cozy enough to outweigh my fur. On my way back to my bed, however, something catches my attention out of the corner of my eye. On the desk is the purple book I threw there last night. Curiosity wells within me again. I'll need to bring it for tomorrow anyway, and we're likely doing our project on it too, so it'll be in all our best interests for me to read it. Right? The fact that I'm even having to find an excuse to read it makes the guilt in my stomach grow larger. This is someone's private property and I shouldn't read it without permission, but... Before I know it, though, I'm right next to the chair in front of the desk. I guess it couldn't hurt to get a bit of a heads up on what we're going to be working on. For my own sake, and theirs. Here goes nothing. Sitting down on the desk chair, I'm struck by how uncomfortable it is. The cushion is such a thin layer, and the tail hole isn't positioned properly. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised considering this is a student lodging, but I'll push that aside for now and focus on the diary in front of me. Holding the cover in my fingers, the reality of what this book is dawns on me. This is the diary of a girl who killed 3 people, and then herself. A murderer's diary. What would I even find in there? Sick thoughts of wanting to hurt people? A motive? Maybe it'll be completely normal. Honestly, that might actually be worse. One second, guys. Oh, yes. And that's some good coffee. Oh. I'm knocked out of my stupor by a text message on my phone. It's from Lily. We all exchanged our numbers during lunch. Yo, just wanted to remind you to bring the diary tomorrow. We will need it. I will. Just wanted to give it a bit of a read now. Cool. Let me know how it is. Later. Honestly, it's kind of scary. It's a diary from a dead girl who killed a bunch of people. Makes me feel kind of sick. Aw, sorry. If you're not feeling it, we can read it together tomorrow. Might be easier then, right? No, I'll be fine. I just need to remember it's just a book. Okay, but feel free to text me again or call me if you need some help, though. I will. Thank you. Today was really fun. Hey, you know it. We should hang as a group more. I know Ozzy will want to. This diary list needs punctuation. I can't help but chuckle. Lily's really nice and gets along great with everyone. Talking to her is comforting, yes, because she's Shino Mommy. Even Lucas doesn't really lash out at her as much as the others. If you can convince Lucas and... I'm getting this... Lay to come along as well. I'd love to join. I'll chat to him. It's alright, it's 9 already, so I'm gonna go to bed. Night. Good night. I'll see you in class tomorrow. Feeling a little better, I slipped the phone into my pocket. I know if I keep it out, I'm just going to feel like distracting myself. With everything out of the way, I bring my focus back to the journal. It's a little less scary now, but it's definitely eerie. Putting those thoughts out of my mind, I open the cover. I'm greeted by a familiar message on the inside of the cover. Property of Heather Lawson. Please call 202-555-0106 to return. I'm almost tempted to try calling again, even though I know the number isn't active anymore. Moving on to the next page, it's surprisingly simple. Just a normal sheet of paper with writing on it. No doodles, no cute little stickers, no other random accessories. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what people put in their diaries. Putting that aside, I'd finally get around to reading. Hey! Or is it Dear Diary? Do people actually do that? Well, I guess I should really be writing Dear Mom, since I know you're going to be reading this. It's the only reason I'm writing this after all. I guess this diary wasn't her idea. Explains why it was so new. It's my first day moving in. Not really much to say yet. Haven't met my roommate, but I guess she isn't moving in today. The room is nice, if a little small. There isn't much space for my clothes, though. Hopefully I can meet my roommate soon. I hope we can get along. None of these entries are dated at all. It makes things a bit awkward trying to figure out when each of these takes place, but I guess I have to make do. Still feels extremely uncomfortable reading from the perspective of a murderer, especially one as normal sounding as this. So, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but my roommate is totally cool. She got her own car and it's pink. Can you believe it? We hit it off really well, too. Her name is Quinn and she's an Arctic fox. Mercy even likes her, so that has to be a good sign. Can't wait to start school next week. Mercy chose some of the same classes as me for our general classes so we can hang out and help each other. I know it's going to be a great year. Even though it's only the second entry, I feel very heavy all of a sudden. It's almost painful to read. How did someone who seemed so happy and surrounded by people who liked her turn out so bad? What happened exactly? Wanting more answers, I grab my laptop off my bed and place it next to the book. I'm not going to dive too deep into the details. I just want to check a few things. It doesn't take me long to find what I'm looking for. They're right, this was big. There were 3 victims and herself who died that day. 19-year-old Fox, Quinn Willow, who was her roommate. 18-year-old Mouse, Mercedes Hills, apparently her best friend according to her parents. 21-year-old Badger, Conrad Hughes, her boyfriend. And lastly, 19-year-old Leopard, Helena Lawson. Her motive for killing them is that Conrad had been cheating on her with both Quinn and Mercedes. She flew in a rage and killed all of them. When police arrested Helena, she was apparently not responding to any kind of questioning, completely non-responsive. When placed in her cell for the night, she killed herself by clawing her own throat out. Still processing that information, I just sit back in my chair and stare at the ceiling. Did she really kill them for that? She seems so nice, though. I know I don't know her at all, but I just can't see her doing that. There's something there that does catch my attention. Conrad Hughes. I haven't seen an entry on him yet. Picking up the book, I read the rest of the entries on the page. Most are just about her buying books in preparation for classes and going out with Quinn and Mercedes. The next few pages are very similar, just her explaining how her days have been going, only bits and pieces being really worth noting. She seems really enthusiastic about starting college. She's even taking 5 classes. I mean, I know it's not super abnormal, but I only took 4 for my first semester. All her entries are addressed to her mother, too. They seem to have a pretty close relationship. No mention of a father yet, though. The final entry on the 5th page shows something worth noting, however. Ooh, excuse me. Mom, listen to this. Quinn is making me meet up with someone. I have a pretty good idea what this is about. She was always mentioning how her business management class is right next to the football field, and she's gotten a bit close with a lot of them. I think she's going to set me up with a hottie. Don't worry, I'll keep you informed. Here in this diary where you can't sabotage it. He's going to be a total hunk, I know it, so I'm not going to let you be a prude. I'm guessing that's Conrad. Oscar mentioned the guy who died was on the football team. I was going to call you tomorrow. I know there's some stuff we need to talk about. Of course, when you read this, that would have already happened, but it makes me feel better telling it to you here. Feel safer. That's rather ominous. When I turn the page, however, I find something wrong. Or more accurately, I find something missing. Ooh. Is this turning into another Echo situation? Man, this feels really fucked up. There's a jagged bit of paper in the crease, and I can see the next page is missing. That's strange. What about the rest of the book? To my even bigger shock, the remainder of the book is littered with missing pages. Despite having half the book remaining, the writing just ends and the page afterward is ripped out. Whatever her final entry was is gone. Flipping to the end, I can't find any of the writing until the final page. At the bottom of the page in Helen's handwriting. Some things are too painful to remember. The ink on this page is smudged. I can only guess from her crying while writing. Little dots of stains across the whole page back up that theory. There's something strange about it, but I can't put my finger on exactly what. I close the book, the weight of everything a bit too much right now. Not wanting to be in my room, I shuffle over to the door and into the hallway. The air is much cooler here. Looking towards the end, the window is open. The night air blowing against my face is a welcome moment of respite. It's refreshing, even if it's a bit much. I lean against my door and just bask in the silence for a while. The only sound accompanying me was my own breathing. I'm not sure how long it takes before I compose myself, but when I do, I check my phone for the time. It's 4:39 a.m.? Jesus, how long was I reading for? I wasn't even looking at the time when I was researching on my computer. For fuck's sake, I have biolab at 8 a.m. Shoving my way into my room, I quickly slapped my laptop closed and rushed to the bed. Some things are too painful to remember. I'm standing on a ladder. I'm only a few steps off the ground, but it feels like I'm stuck, frozen in time. Everything around me is dark for some reason. Well, except for one thing. There's one single piercing light in the distance. It's so painful to look at, it's blurring. As I force myself to focus, it begins to become clearer. I can make something out in the distance. I smack my head against my head as I jolt awake out of bed. My heart is racing and I'm having issues focusing on what's around me. It takes me a couple moments before I calm down and realize there's nothing wrong. A roar screams through my head and I curl up in pain. How am I even supposed to think with a stabbing headache? With a whimper, I close my eyes and slide my hand across my nightstand until I find my phone. The screen blindly bright when I open my eyes. 7 a.m. Fucking hell, I only got like 2 hours of sleep. I have anything to go back to sleep, but I can't afford to miss classes. That would leave a bad impression on my first week. Plus, labs have mandatory attendance. Sluggish, I pull my exhausted body out of bed and force myself to get ready for the class. I nearly walk into the door as I push into the stairwell, barely being able to focus. My biology lab was a complete train wreck on my part. Thankfully, it was just introductory class and was mostly going over the curriculum and expectations for lab sessions. I wasn't paying the slightest attention. Hope that doesn't come back and bite me in the ass. I snuck in a small nap in the library, but my body still feels exhausted. My headache is mostly gone, replaced by a heavy blocking sensation. I just really want to go back and get some proper rest. The Wednesday session for my media class is in a different building than last time. It's on the lower floors of the arts building, unlike the first lecture, which is in the fine arts building. I didn't even know there was a difference between arts and fine arts. I'm glad the class was at 3 p.m., or else finding this would have been a mess. I wish the campus layout wasn't so confusing. Hey! Fancy running into you here. Normally, I would be extremely startled and jump, but I just don't have the energy today. Oh, her, okay. Turning around to see a familiar female canine. She has a wide grin covering her face, and she seems to be radiating energy. 1 second. Oh, yes, that hits the spot. Coffee has been consumed. This guy needs to get some damn coffee. Hey, Lily, how are you doing? Wow, you look awful. Are you okay? This is the second time someone has said that to me as I met up with them within 2 days. That doesn't answer my question. I'm fine. I just didn't sleep much last night. I was up almost all night reading and looking up stuff about Helena. That seems to have piqued her interest, and she leans in closer. Did you find out anything interesting? Not really. They're mostly just normal diary entries about her moving in and starting university. I'm only a few pages in, though. Damn, I was hoping for something more substantial. There is some weird stuff about it, though. A bunch of pages are missing. I guess you wanted to hide some entries. Let's save the rest for when we're with the group. Give us all a little recap. That's basically all there was, though. Well, did you bring the diary? We can read it together, then. Yeah, it's in my laptop bag. Great, let's head in, then. She grabs my arm and basically drags me from the bottom of the stairwell all the way down the corridor until we stop at one of the doors. Room 004. Apparently the floor below ground has rooms starting with 0. Going inside, there's a much smaller number of students than there were at the lecture. Noticing my confusion, Lily clears it up pretty fast. Oh, there's actually multiple different second classes. They're run by assistant professors, not Professor Mirko. He only does Monday lectures, even though he's our professor. Why are there multiple different classes? Since these are more practical-based classes, more one-on-one attention is needed, and that isn't really possible in a class of 250. Oh, well, that makes sense. So they're split into one on each of the days. Each a class of 50. If you got the Monday one, you get the practical before the main lecture. It's really awkward. That makes sense. I guess I really didn't think about it that much. Though, to be fair, it's hard to think at all today. Sitting at the table furthest from the front is Lay, Oscar, and Lucas. Despite sitting at the same table, they're definitely not sitting together. It's a large square table like the rest in the class. Each of them is sitting on different sides, the final side being pressed against the wall. It almost feels like they're avoiding each other. I thought we were on pretty decent terms after yesterday's lunch. Then again, Lay was always distant, and Lucas wasn't really comfortable with either of those two. Oscar is looking at us as we approach, definitely much more chipper. Hey, welcome to the party! What is with this music? This is like, oh my god, this is like freaking, like a... God, this is like a funeral procession. What is it? No, a funeral dirge. If these were the college parties I was promised, I'll be very disappointed. They laughed together, quite loudly. Thankfully, the room is filled with students chatting, so it isn't particularly attention-grabbing. Lay seems to be looking at me, a concerned look covering his face. Not enough sleep? You have no idea. I'm trying to get the voice down for Lay. He has a deep voice, I remember that. Okay. How much? 2-ish hours? Fucking hell, kid, what were you doing? I was up all night reading the diary and doing some research. Thought it might help. He gives me a deep sigh, but he doesn't seem upset, just concerned. Sorry about that, guys. Jesus, please try to get more sleep. You look like you're about to fall and eat shit again. Lucas doesn't have as pronounced a reaction as Lay, but he still looks interested in our conversation. Or maybe he's just trying to distract himself. I didn't notice it until now, but Lucas looks pretty bad too. A familiar bad look. It's the same one from the first lecture. What time did you go to sleep? Around 5 a.m. His ears flick at that, and he raises an eyebrow, not giving away an ounce of what he's thinking. Lay, on the other hand, sighs and runs a hand across his face. And what time did you wake up? 7. Lay looks like he's about to slam something on the desk. I don't think he's angry, just extremely baffled. Lucas looks unperturbed. In fact, he seems pretty unsurprised. That's fairly late. That's around when I get to sleep. I gape at that, and with how wide Lay's eyes are, he's just shocked, but Lucas clarifies before either of us can interrupt. I don't have to get up at 7. It's not that bad. All my other classes are online, so I can stay home and do them later than usual. Wish I was fucking there instead of in this shithole. There it is. I was thinking Lucas was acting surprisingly calm compared to the last 2 days. Lay doesn't even react, instead opting to revert back to his distant quiet mode. So, what's with the distance? You guys look like you're trying to stay as far away from each other as possible. Lily must have finished her conversation with Oscar because she suddenly talks to all of us. I didn't want to ask it, but it doesn't seem like Lily has any reservations about that kind of thing. I wanted to sit next to them, but when I tried to sit next to Lucas, he told me to fuck off. He gives me a big laugh at that, treating the whole thing as a giant joke. Then I asked the bad boy over here, and he just shook his head. Now I'm sitting all lonely over here. Despite giving some puppy dog eyes at the end, he can only hold it for a few moments before smirking again. I don't feel like getting groped, Smiley. Oh, are we actually doing that nickname? Lay just shrugs and doesn't respond. Instead, someone else does. Listen, meathead, you have no respect for personal space. Lay just nods in agreement, likely not really wanting to verbally contribute. Boo! You guys are no fun! Nothing wrong with a little fun between the bros, right? What kind of fun are you talking about, man? No one reacts to that one, leaving only a poignant deadpan silence. With no one playing along, he gives up that charade and turns his focus onto me. He's got a mischievous look in his eye that has got me worried. What about you, Wallace? You gonna give me a nickname, too? What? Come on, man, everyone else has. You gotta give me one, too. I considered pointing out that Lucas wasn't exactly giving him a nickname and was just insulting him. Then again, Oscar doesn't really seem to mind being insulted. He just finds it hilarious. I don't know, I like Oscar. It's fitting and fun. I like calling you that. It catches him off guard for some reason. Is that a bashful expression on his face? I must be more tired than I thought. Oh, jeez, man. You're gonna make me blush. Alright. You can call me Oscar. That's your name. It's expected he'd use it that anyway. You're exceedingly dense. Well, let's take our seats. Lily seems to quickly interject into their bickering. She leans over and whispers into my ear, "It's free real estate." I'm sorry. I can't help it. Before someone says something they can't take back. So, she's suddenly much louder and unfortunately still next to my ear. Leaning away from her so I don't lose my hearing, I manage to catch the rest of it at a reasonable level. Where do you want to sit, Wallace? Best decide fast. Looks like class will start soon. You know who I'm sitting. I'm sitting next to, Otter Daddy. Walking over to the otter, I notice he's been watching me the whole time. The grin that's plastered across his face is something I've come to associate with him. It's hard to imagine him not smiling. He's wearing the same button-up shirt he wore on Monday. This must be what he wears to more professional environments. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there, guys. And some creepy things with that diary. Oof. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell until the next video. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!